I beat the S&P 500 by over 5% last year, and I am going to show you exactly how I did it. We are going to look at my entire $2.3 million portfolio, and I'll give you my thoughts on each of my holdings. If you want to compound your wealth with me, make sure to subscribe. All right, let's get into it. There are two main reasons why I beat the market last year. Number one, I was heavily buying the Liberation Day dip. This is how I have a 1-year return of over 50%. If I had sold out, I would have been beaten by the market, and if I just held, I would have probably tied the market. When the market dips on headline news and company fundamentals are improving, you need to be buying stocks. I have discussed this in previous videos. The V-shaped recovery is real. People are eager to buy everything they come across on Amazon Prime Day because it's on sale, but when stocks start to fall for no reason, everyone gets scared, they sell out, and they miss out on incredible opportunities. The second reason I beat the market is because I had very large concentrated positions in a few companies. If you have identified the best opportunity, why not put the majority of your money into it? I understand risk tolerance, but as Charlie Munger said, diversification for the sake of it is diversification. Google was my highest conviction stock last year, so I put every available dollar into it, and it paid off. Okay, on to the portfolio breakdown. Let's go in order of largest position to smallest position. I do want to point out that about 40% of my portfolio is made up of ETFs. If you don't feel comfortable buying individual stocks, then you probably shouldn't. The biggest reason why investors trail the market is selling out when stocks go down. If you are nervous about individual stocks from the jump, you are probably going to sell when there is a downturn. I plan on always having a large position in an S&P 500 index fund, and that is why my largest position is IVV, iShares S&P 500 Index Fund. I have about $430,000 in IVV and a profit of around $106,000. This represents about 15% of my total profit. This is my set it and forget it. I first bought it a little over 7 years ago, and I have been dollar cost averaging into it every single month since. It pays a 1.23% dividend yield and has an expense ratio of 0.03. Buy this and let it compound over 30 years, and you will be rich. Number two is Google. Google makes up about 15% of the portfolio and accounts for 30% of the gains. I have about $345,000 in Google and $208,000 of gains. I first bought Google 7 years ago, but loaded up on it in early 2025 and have even been buying it as recently as a few weeks ago when it sold off during the onset of the Iran war. I want to hold Google forever, but I may start to sell some covered calls if the stock gets above 350. I don't think it's overvalued there, but it's at the higher end of the fair value range, and there are so many good opportunities out there right now. Number three is VU, another S&P 500 index fund. Just like IVV, it pays a modest dividend yield and has a very low expense ratio. It is a $235,000 position with $42,000 in gains. I plan on slowly selling out of this when I need cash to fund purchases of individual stocks. Right now, the ETFs in my portfolio make up just shy of 40% of the weight and only 31% of the profit. I think I can do better deploying this money into individual stocks that have sold off. I am keeping IVV instead of VOO simply because I've owned IVV longer and have more gains. Next is another Vanguard ETF, VGT, Vanguard Information Technology. This is a growth fund that has historically beaten the S&P 500 by a pretty large margin. I will probably always own this, and I currently have $195,000 in it with $50,000 in gains. Fifth on the list is Apple. I first bought Apple over 8 years ago and most recently bought it last year during the Liberation Day sell-off. I have $141,000 in the stock and $88,000 in gains. Apple is one of my favorite companies in the world, and it is undeniably one of the best. For years, the only knock on Apple has been its slowing growth and high multiple. But I think that there is growth that is not factored in, and that the multiple isn't that high. Siri will now be powered by Gemini, and revenue growth was up 15% last quarter. Couple that with the gold standard moat, balance sheet, and predictable cash flow, and it becomes clear that Apple is going to be a big winner. For those reasons, I have no intention of selling. Number six is Meta. I have $135,000 in Meta and almost $12,000 in gains. If you watch my videos, you know that I have been pounding the table on Meta. I believe that Meta is one of the most dislocated stocks in the entire market. I have been buying Meta shares every few days for the past 7 months. One of my buys happened to be on March 27th, which looks to be the exact bottom of the sell-off. I had no idea that would be the bottom. I just knew that the stock was cheap, so I kept buying it, even if it was just one share at a time. Since then, the stock has rocketed up almost 30%. But don't worry if you missed it. It's not too late. Meta is still cheap, and I am probably going to continue buying it. Seventh on the list is Amazon. This stock has drastically underperformed the market over the past 5 years, but it is a must own. I want to hold this stock forever. I currently have $119,000 in Amazon and $21,000 of gains. Amazon has an endless amount of levers to pull, and I am bullish on the stock. I have been buying the stock pretty heavily over the past few months. Next up is ASML. When you think of an impenetrable moat, ASML comes to mind. The company is literally a monopoly in arguably the most important sector. The stock is near an all-time high, but I think there is likely more room to go. I have $113,000 in the stock and $61,000 in gains. I plan on continuing to hold this far into the future. ASML just reported earnings and they beat on revenue and earnings. Now we are moving into the positions with less than $100,000. I have $90,000 in Microsoft and just under $6,000 in gains. I have owned Microsoft in this account and another for a long time. In fact, it was one of the first stocks I ever bought in 2016. Just like the rest of software, Microsoft has been taken to the train station. The stock has had a nice little bounce since the end of March, but is still down close to 30% from its high. I have been buying Microsoft and will continue to do so. Just like Meta, I think Microsoft is a steal right now. To round out the top 10 is American Express. It's a $56,000 position with $5,800 in gains. I think American Express is a buy today, and I will probably be buying more. I did a deeper dive on AXP in one of my previous videos. If you want to see more, make sure to check it out. Number 11 is SMH, the VanEck Semiconductor ETF. It's a $50,000 position with $21,000 in gains. This ETF has absolutely destroyed the market over the past 5 years, and it's another one that I plan on owning forever. Semiconductors will always be a crucial part of the global economy. Number 12 is the big dog himself, Nvidia. I buy Nvidia every time there is a sell-off, and I plan on holding it far into the future. It's a $49,000 position with $12,000 in gains. Number 13 is AMD. As long as AMD gets a fraction of the market share, the stock will outperform, and that is exactly what has happened over the past year or so. I have only owned it for a few months, but I plan on holding this one forever as well. It is currently a $40,000 position with $5,000 in gains. Next is another one that I bought in late 2025, Netflix. I think this stock is slightly undervalued and will be a good long-term hold. I have $38,000 in it with $1,800 in gains. Number 15 is a company that has been a massive winner. I have $35,000 in CAT and over $20,000 of it is gains. And I actually took some gains in the stock last year because I thought it was starting to get pricey. If you are a believer in the long-term success of America or the AI build-out, then CAT is a great company to own. The current price is not the most attractive entry point though, as the stock has literally gone vertical. JP Morgan is another company that I started buying during the sell-off last year, and I have been buying more recently. This is another one that it can't hurt to own if you are a believer in America and want dividends. JP Morgan is the largest bank in the world, and it's one of the most profitable companies in the world. I plan on holding this forever. It's a $31,000 position with $3,000 in gains. Number 17 is Comfort Systems USA. One of the first videos I made focused on this company. It is a $30,000 position with almost $15,000 in gains. Fix is one of the best performing stocks this year, and I planned on making it a large holding, but the stock ran up so fast that I never got the chance to build it out how I wanted to. Even with a massive backlog, I am starting to worry about the valuation. However, I have not owned this for a year, so I'm not sure what I will do with this one. Next is UNH, and a perfect example of why you should only buy stocks that you understand. The insurance business is incredibly complex, and healthcare insurance is an enigma. I have owned the stock for over 6 years, but was afraid to buy it during the massive sell off because I did not understand the intricacies of the business. It is a $26,000 position with a loss of $6,700. I do not want to take that big of a loss, but I understand that this may be dead money for a while. Number 19 is Uber. I have $27,000 in Uber with a loss of $2,300. I believe that Uber is undervalued and that they will be one of the winners in self-driving. I may add more to it, and I plan on holding it long term. Now we are getting into companies that are all less than a 1% weighting in the portfolio. I do not like having small positions, and I planned on making all of these larger, but there is only so much money to go around. Some have been huge winners like TSM, Micron, and Broadcom. Others have been volatile like Vistra, Oracle, and Robinhood. I do plan on holding all of these long term, but may trim some of them if I need to deploy cash somewhere else. Since I started recording this video, the market is up again. The Hunter Fund is now up over $700,000, a dollar amount I never thought possible. The top 5 holdings make up over 71% of the total profit, and the top 10 make up over 86%. I like all of the companies that I own, but I do want to hold less companies. At some point, the smaller positions are just a distraction. All right, that's it for this time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.